Welcome to last week's news, where I tell you last week's news, or at least the parts I can make funny. Britney Spears is apparently in a real shitty situation. She released testimony recently describing how shitty her life is. Her dad basically controls her entirely. Basically, a judge ruled that she's crazy, and she can't be in charge of her life as a result. She can't see her kids, has to work when they say she does, and apparently can't even remove her own IUD to have more kids. Which is a total infringement on her rights, and should never be done to anyone. But maybe just this once it's reasonable. The internet has decided to give a shit and to pretend that we're not all the ones who made her crazy in the first place so we can feel righteous. The people in charge of the US came to an agreement on a spending plan. The budget they came to is $1 trillion. In other news about numbers so big you can't even begin to comprehend them, your mom's body count. McAfee, the guy who created the McAfee security software, suicided himself after getting a tattoo that said, quote, whacked, and making a Twitter post that said, quote, if I suicide myself, I didn't. So obviously there's nothing to see here. No, honestly though, this might just be a brilliant prank. I'm gonna do the same thing when I decide to kill myself. Some dummy held a sign in front of the Tour de France and caused a massive wreck. They haven't found the chick who did it yet, but apparently the sign said, try doing this with one ball, assholes! Derek Chauvin got sentenced. He got 22 and a half years. And there's no universe where I'm touching this story, so we're going to move right on. Johnson & Johnson's going to pay New York $230 million for contributing to the opioid crisis. I thought it was weird they were paying New York directly, but apparently New York's cousin was a big addict, so it makes sense. This is progress, though. Just 350 more lawsuits like this, and we'll be starting to cover J&J's yearly revenue. Apparently, when asked for comment, Johnson & Johnson said, quote, want to see me do it again? The U.S. bombed the Middle East again, and honestly at this point, does anyone care? We've always been at war with someone foreign, it's not news anymore. If the U.S. starts bombing the U.S., or Iran airstrikes a Walmart, maybe then we'll have some news. Like, yeah, people are dying, but to people in my generation, people have always been dying. Some data came out showing that nobody watches the news anymore. If you've noticed that some of your friends are a lot less annoying lately, this is why. Basically, the U.S. reality show is having a slow season. Juul's going to pay $40 million to California for targeting kids with their ads. Which, to be fair, when I saw that ad where Baby Shark rides in on a hoverboard and says, try Juul, it tastes like fruit by the foot. Yeet! I was like, man, this is a little much, even if it's totally out of touch. The NCAA is going to let athletes make money now. Apparently being paid in pussy is no longer reason enough to be a college athlete. They said, listen, if we're going to give money to the WNBA, we may as well give money to the starving college kids too. Cosby went free because of a prosecution fuck-up, which is good news in my opinion. It's not just rich white kids who can get away with rape. Rich old black men can too. Now we just need poor people to have that freedom and we'll have true equality. I guess you could say the prosecutor was really sleeping on this case, huh? An LA police truck exploded. They thought it was loaded up with improvised explosives, but they recently learned that it was actually full of my ex-girlfriend's emotions. Ayo! When asked for comment, the police chief said, well, if we can't beat up the blacks anymore, how else are we supposed to de-stress? And that's the news. Thanks for coming. Leave a like. Come again. Goodbye.